Hello CIS30A. I am going to go over our Lab 2 exercise 10 in this video. And in the exercise, it asks you to use the given string Python with no space and write a program to split the string into two equal substrings, then display the substrings, provide screen capture of script and output. As I received some questions regarding this, so I wanted to show you how that can be done. So now, if you use the split and the slice method, you find out that you're going to come across challenges as there's some limitation with those methods. So this one is a tricky question. It actually allows you to think about how you would implement discrete math to be able to apply some math operations to slice the string. So here is the program. To start, I have strng1 is a variable name, and I declare the variable. Once I declare the variable, I assign it Python string. Then what I chose to do next here is to have a second variable called s_first. And s_first is going to store the first part of the string, which is the first substring, Python. And s_second is going to store the second part. Now you can do them exactly the same. However, I wanted to show you that you can slice it by showing two separate approach. So the first approach we're going to use is we are going to bring down the variable that we previously declared and assign Python string 2. Then we are going to use the slicing method by starting with the first character of the string, which is P, and we're going to use the length method to go to the end of that string. So length itself is going to take you to the end of the string, which is Python. But what we want to do is we want to slice this in half. We're only going to go from the length to the first half of the string. So what we can do is we can use the operator to divide the string into half. So when we divide this by 2, when you're using this operator, what you're doing is you're slicing it in half and you're keeping the quotient. So if you're looking at the number of the characters here, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So when you use that, what you're doing is you're taking the length, which is 12 characters. This part's going to give you 12 characters, and you divide it by 2. So basically you're saying that you're going to start from 0 to the 6, which is where it's going to cut, is the end of the first Python. So that way we can manually code it in, but I require that you use length so you can understand the method. That length itself, when you pass length and the variable that stores the string, all that is it's saying that it's the total number of characters, the length of that string, the number from the beginning to the end of the end character in that string. So we would take the 12 and divide it by 2, which is going to give you half of that. So we're going to be able to cut it in half. So that's going to store into s_first, and then we can print that out. Then on the second one, I chose to use, for s_second, I chose to use modulus. And so in this, again, we wanted to slice string 1, and we are going to, again, take the length of string 1, and we're going to divide that by 2, keeping the quotient. So that's going to give you 12 divided by 2, that's going to give you 6. if the length of string 1 mod 2 is 0, so when we apply this condition, it's going to meet the condition because when we take the 6 divided by 2, we have 0 remainder as it divides evenly when we use a modulus here. So it's going to meet the condition. It's going to allow you to print that out. Okay. Now, if it doesn't, what we're going to do is we are going to take the length of that string divided by 2. We're going to add the 1 to it so it put the marker onto the next character, which is after the end, and that's going to allow you to cut it evenly. Otherwise, we're going to cut off a letter if we have an odd value. So what you want to do is you wanted to be able to use the operator, and we can simply cut it. And the first one, we're simply using index from start, and this is going to allow us to go to the end, which is going to be right here. And then on the second one, we didn't just leave it there. We actually apply an if statement, so that way we can actually double check and make sure that we can slice that string in half. So there are two approaches in this, and both of them you see that we're using the operator to be able to slice the string in half, and this is how we can use the length. And so simply the length method allows you to apply the total number, the length of that string, the total number of characters in that string, and we can simply slice it in half by using the division of 2. And this double slash right here is a division operator, but it allows you to get the quotient. So whatever the quotient would be, it's going to apply that. So we would be able to cut it at 6, the first 6 character, so that way we would be able to print out the first Python and the second Python. And this concludes my video for this particular exercise, which is number 10 in Lab 2 for CIS 30A.